Hi, my name is Maeve. I'm 18. Have you ever thought that one decision can change your entire life? It is as if you are facing two roads and a completely different outcome of events. My stupidity led me to get pregnant with my ex, and I didn't know what to do. Watch the video to the end and you will find out what difficulties you can face if you see two lines on the test. My friend Lindsay threw a birthday party for her. I loved parties since you could dance till you drop, and dancing was my passion. For as long as I can remember, I've always wanted to dance. My teachers had no doubt that I would go to the best dance school in the state, but I had problems with regular life. And of course I overdid it on Lindsay's party. Frankly, I never remembered the middle of the party afterwards. But I will never forget the second part. I was chatting with a guy I didn't really like, and then Nate came into the room. Nate is my ex-boyfriend who left me a year ago. I wanted to disappear, get the hell out of there, so I wouldn't have to cross paths with him. Just as I was thinking about it, Nate started cheering me all over the room. And for some reason, instead of ignoring him, I started talking to him in a trembling voice. Well, as you know, it didn't end there. We spent the rest of the evening with Nate. We laughed, chatted, laughed again, and slept together unnoticed. My head was pounding in the morning, but I didn't care because we were back together with Nate, the coolest guy I'd ever met. But he was no longer in bed. I called Nate, and he obviously wasn't expecting me to call. Have you ever done this? You spent the night with your ex, but in the morning he says, I thought we both just wanted sex. Damn! What a fool I was! Nate wasn't planning on dating with me again, he just wanted to sleep with me. And judging by his voice, he even was not happy about it. Oh, no. How could I get into this shit again? But how disgusting I felt. How I hated myself for being so stupid and going down that road. For a few weeks, I was sadder than ever, and I felt like my life was over. And when I came to my senses, Nate suddenly called me, and I quickly grabbed the phone to answer him. And finally put this asshole in place. Nate asked for a meeting, and I agreed. I wanted to prove to him that he didn't mean anything to me. I was holding myself together all night. I was perfect. Nate, on the other hand, was acting like a boy in love. I was sure it was just another game, and I didn't fall for it. But at the end of the evening, Nate abruptly ended the conversation, apologized for hurting me, and suggested that we get back together. What do you think? I refused. How proud of myself I was. But Nate continued to take care of me. Not a day went by without Nate coming to my school, giving me flowers, inviting me to a coffee shop. So, by the end of the next week, we were back in the same bed and I agreed to start over. Then another week of absolute idle. Every morning I started with a text message saying, "Good day," after school we walked together, studied together, and I went to bed talking to him. After that week, I suddenly remembered that my period should have started last week. I ran to get the test, and I ran home even faster to find out the result. And I saw 2 lines. 2 damn lines. So 2 weeks ago, I slept with my ex. A week after, we got back together and I found out I was pregnant. I was pregnant. The level of pain was like simultaneously doing waxing, pinching your fingers and spilling boiling water on yourself. No, the words "I'm pregnant" were even more painful. I didn't want to break the news to Nate yet, so I went to my best friend, Jenny. She tried to distract me with shopping and her not-so-funny jokes. I didn't get any advice from her because she thought it should only be my decision. So I stood in front of Nate and said, "Nate, I'm pregnant." I was so exhausted before this conversation that at that moment I almost didn't feel anything. And then something happened that I didn't expect at all. Nate didn't run away and yell, "You'll never see me again," or ask the insulting question, "Are you sure this is my baby?" He hugged me and promised to be with me no matter what decision I made. It wasn't like him. Had Nate changed that much? Did we really have a chance to start a real relationship? Do you think it's true that all relationships with exes are doomed to fail? I had to decide something: be with Nate and have a baby, or become a famous dancer. Nate said that a baby wouldn't ruin my dreams, that I could dance, but later. Or maybe I didn't need it. After all, dreams change. Today we want one thing and tomorrow another. We decided that my dancing would wait and that having a baby would be the only right choice. Nate asked me to live together. The next step was the most difficult. We needed to tell our parents. My parents were usually supportive, but when they found out I was pregnant with Nate's baby, they were furious. They didn't like Nate, considering him infantile and selfish. Of course, my parents reminded me that Nate had left me last year when he started dating my friend. I was crushed by the reaction of my folks. The next day, I told my dance teacher that I was pregnant and would give birth. Mr. Jackson was disappointed with me because it was impossible to predict whether I would be able to recover later. I consoled myself with the fact that the person I loved would be there for me, and we would overcome everything together. Then, Nate suddenly disappeared, stopped texting or answering calls. By the evening, I couldn't wait any longer and went to his house. Nate's parents met me there and gave me a big fight, accusing me that I was deliberately knocked up by Nate in order to marry him off and rob him of his fortune. I ran away from them in tears. All night, I tried unsuccessfully to get through to Nate. The next day, he sent me a message that I should have an abortion because it was too early for him to become a father. I felt as if a tank had run over me, and then a herd of bison had run over me. I locked myself in my room and didn't talk to anyone. I felt abandoned, useless, and my life was doomed. I went to bed, but at night I felt very bad and had a stomach ache. It was twisting so that I climbed to the ceiling from the pain. My parents called an ambulance. When I was taken to the hospital, I was already bleeding and lost consciousness. In the morning, I woke up in a hospital bed, and the doctor was standing over me and talking to me. I only heard a few phrases. I had a miscarriage, and I almost bled to death. But it's all over now. Everything resolved itself. Maybe it was for the best. I couldn't raise a child on my own, but I would never have had an abortion. While I was recovering, my parents secretly submitted my college papers, and as soon as I came to my senses, I returned to training and still enrolled in choreography. I went to visit my parents the other day and met Nate. Nate couldn't go to college and got a job at a store near his home. I've been in college for a year now, and I've already been invited to do an internship in New York. I've been moving away from the consequences of this story for a long time, but dancing and moving saved me, pulled me out of this black hole of depression, and still does so. If you like my story, please share this video, subscribe to the channel, and click the bell icon so that you don't miss other videos. And always make informed decisions.